Thanks for joining us today here on Manufacturing Matters. We're in Boston at the Autonomous Mobile Robotics and Logistics Show, co-located with the Vision Show in Boston. And I'm lucky enough to be here with Heiko Eisele, president of MVTech, one of the leading software developers in the machine vision space. Heiko, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Fantastic. So, first of all, what's the first impression of the show? What are you seeing that's cool?
Well, first of all, we're excited to be back here in Boston. I think the last time was in 2018, and I have to say I really missed it.
Right, yes. Boston is a great town.
Well, of course, we live here. That
helps.
But no, we very much enjoy
Fantastic.
Being back here at the Vision Show.
Fantastic. So, what is MVTech focused on in terms of either applications or vertical industries here at the show?
Well, as you know, I mean, most of all, we're trying to solve customs applications, right? And everyone is talking about deep learning. For us, deep learning is really a tool. We see it's important. It's a great enabler. It allows us to do things that we haven't been able to do before. Mm-hmm. However, to us, it's just one of the many tools. As far as growth industries, we do see applications, for example, in automotive to do various types of inspection for defects.
Okay.
Also, logistics, certainly a big growth industry and big potential for vision. We see need for part identification, label reading, OCR, barcode, data code. Mm-hmm. Robot picking, of course, which is another application where deep learning can be applied. So I think, the times for vision are bright in the years to come.
So let's delve into that a little bit. You mentioned deep learning. Mm-hmm. Halcon, your premier flagship product at MVTech, it has both a traditional IDE, has traditional machine vision algorithms built in, one of the most powerful softwares out there on the market today, and then it's fully integrated with deep learning capability, correct. Right? So how does that help you to better respond to the customer needs that were out there?
Well, what we see is that quite often deep learning doesn't solve the entire application. Deep learning only is part of the application, right?
Right.
Often you need some sort of pre-processing, you need to maybe just do some part reorientation alignment.
Yep.
And this is where we think it is really helpful for our customers to have all the tools integrated into one package that can be seamlessly deployed.
So when it comes to deep learning, what do you say, Heiko, to the folks who are saying, we were expecting more? We were expecting deep learning to solve more. Do you think deep learning is on a good adoption curve? Do you think it's going to be able to deliver on the full promise that so many people have? Or do you think that people are asking for too much?
To some extent, I believe that's certainly true. I mean, expectations are too high.
Right.
And I think at this point, we're a little bit beyond the hype curve already, right? I think we're at a phase where the realization settles in that it can't do everything right.
Right.
And that it's simply not the right tool for certain applications. One of the big downsides of deep learning is the lack of adjustability, right? I mean, it's still a black box, right?
Right.
And people on the production floor, they want to be able to fine-tune things and tweak things, and they can't, right? And we still don't fully understand how the technology works. It somehow does magic, using a lot of training images, but often there's that sort of lack of accountability that bothers people still.
So one of the great challenges, I think, for machine vision systems and software solutions is to be able to adapt to new product variations that might be very similar. So is there a certain rule that your guidance that you give your customers that say, okay, we have a deep learning model, it's optimized for your existing product base. Mm-hmm. You can expand this to a certain amount, mm-hmm. But I mean, what kind of guidance do you give them on being able to add, either expand the model with new variations, mm-hmm. or how do you address that or you just say, listen, if we're going to have a new product, we're probably going to need a whole new training set. And we're going to start from scratch. Mm-hmm. So,
well, generally, we certainly make customers aware that the model has to be trained with the stuff that it has to see later, right? So in other words, if it has seen stuff that it hasn't been trained for, you could be potentially in trouble.
It doesn't have imagination.
Exactly. So deep learning is, we always speak about it. We also refer to it as artificial intelligence.
Right.
And in my opinion, it's not really, there's no intelligence behind it. In the end, it's just a statistical model of the training data that you're building.
Okay, all right. So when we think of MVTech, we think of Halcon, you think of their software products. We think of traditional machine vision applications in the warehouse, in the factory. Mm-hmm. You mentioned logistics. Mm-hmm. But earlier during our conversation, we were talking about the future of agriculture, mm-hmm. which really lies outside in every conceivable sense of the word. Right. So what does MVTech see about agriculture? What is the current state of the art in terms of using imaging systems, and where are we going?
Well, first of all, I think in the agriculture sector we have sort of macro trends that simply drive the need for automation. We have, a lack of labor on the one side and lack of simply, resources, agricultural resources. That means we have to make use of our, agricultural resources more efficiently.
Yes.
And machine vision automation can be a big enabler here. There are environmental issues like reducing the amount of pesticides and even water resources for growing. And this is all an area where machine vision can and will play an important role.
Fantastic. Are we just getting into that agricultural growth curve now, you think?
I would say we're pretty early on here. You see, interestingly, a lot of customers that have specialized in that area, that have offering a vertical solution, both hardware and software. But yes, as far as deploying the technology in the field, I believe we're pretty much at the early stage of the growth curve.
Okay. Because these are large OEMs, there's probably going to be a lot of specialized imaging systems, machine vision systems, either for weed detection, for example, or guiding a harvest, or identifying what is good plants, how to best use water and all that. Are these going to be new players that MVTech will be servicing, or will MVTech be interfacing directly with the John Deeres, with the other large agricultural
I would say both. I mean, you have big vertically integrated companies like John Deere, who are developing their own technology in-house. But interestingly, you also see a lot of startups in that field. I mean, really small company that just do one specific things, maybe mapping and field to optimize irrigation or something, right? Or looking for weeds. So there are a lot of, in particular, software companies that are coming up with vertical solutions here.
How does MVTech, which is an incredibly powerful software environment, but it's also complex. I mean, to be able to do advanced solutions requires advanced software.
That's correct.
When you're helping a customer develop an embedded solution, how do you shrink the footprint of that computational requirement? Is that something that MVTech is looking at or addressing?
Well, certainly. I mean, the idea always with software is, the simple application should be simple to solve, right?
Right.
For known programs, for people with not so much experience of vision. But there are these sort of more difficult applications where really you have to get that little extra juice out of the application, as far as performance, as far as accuracy. And this is where we can help with our more powerful tools and also with our application expertise that we make available to our customers.
Do you provide a lot of consultation in that area, or do you
Absolutely.
Okay.
We work very closely with our customers to actually, make sure that they're using our tools in an optimal way.
Fantastic. If here in Boston, let's come back to where we're at right now. What's the coolest thing you've seen on the show floor today, or this week?
Honestly, I haven't had the chance to walk around much because, thankfully there was a lot of traffic yesterday, so I spent most of the time talking to customers at the booth. But I hope at least maybe later tomorrow to check out some of the other exhibits.
That's the burden of being the president, I guess.
Well, it is, but it's a good burden to have.
Heiko Eisele from MVTech, thank you so much for giving us some time today on Manufacturing Matters. If you've got any questions for Heiko, please reach out to us, Tech B2B. Feel free to share and like this video if you can. And until we meet next time, keep sending those ideas and tell us why manufacturing continues to be a very important matter here in North America and across the world. Thank you.
Thank you.